Michael, you're also known as a futurist as well. Ronald Cohen wrote a book called Second Bounce of the Ball, where obviously, we are operating in today's bounce, today's market, but you need to also predict where the next bounce of the ball will be, which is on the horizon, the next opportunities coming around the corner. So as you mentioned, you got social networking very, very early. You also got viral back at Birthday Alarm,
Right.
very, very early. I think other people were beginning to play with it, Tickle, etc., but you transformed your business from viral. So you can identify things early. So any advice for other CEOs that are wanting to make sure they're keeping their finger on the pulse of what's coming up next so they can align their businesses for that?
I always get asked what's the next big thing, and it's like,
We've got that coming up.
yeah, if I knew that, I'd be doing it. Political networking, I hope, but we'll find out. I don't know, I was never trying to be the next big thing. That wasn't kind of our goal when we were doing social networking. I did social networking because I saw in 2003 Friendster.com, which you're probably familiar with, which was kind of the pioneer in social networking. It was a huge success, certainly in California. At the time, it had 1 million members, which seemed like a crazy high number. And then you look back at it now, and Facebook's at 500 million, it seems nothing. And I went on the site, someone had told me about it, and I spent about half an hour on it, and I just thought, this is amazing. And I thought, I want to do this is so fun, social networking is great. So I just started building it. So I would say building something that you think is really cool is a great way to go. Yeah. And if it turns out to be the next great big thing, then great for you. But I think trying to spend your entire life chasing the next big thing may be just a bad idea. Just do something that you're passionate about, that you think you can build a better version of what's already there, and try and turn that into a business. And if you're not, our nature was always to spend a few weeks building it, put it live and see how it looked. It's obviously different if you spend 3 years building it and $10 million and then find out that it was a crap idea in the first place. But if you sort of took the approach that we took, it was a fun way of doing it.
Yeah, because I think you and Sochi came up with Bebo partially because you just wanted to share photographs or contact with your friends back in the
Bebo,
UK.
interestingly, started out not as a social networking site. It was a self-updating address book, very similar to Plaxo, but it was purely web-based. And our very first idea that we went live with back in '99 was a website called LemonLink, which you referenced earlier, which was an online self-updating address book. So I actually kind of did it as a fun project. I wanted to take everything I'd learned about viral marketing and apply it to the very first viral idea we had and see what would happen now. Yeah. And so when we did it back in '99, it had a viral factor of about 0.7, which is quite good, which means each 100 people get 70 and 70 get another 0.7 of 70 joining. And then when we launched it that much later, we had a viral factor of about 2.5, which was the highest we've ever had, which means 100 people get 250 people to join, and the 250 get 2.5 times that. So each iteration, each generation, it was just multiplying like crazy. Yeah. So it was I did it as this fun experiment. Right. But I knew at the time that self-updating address books don't work, because the reality is you create this address book and you invite all your friends to enter their contact details, and about 10% of them do it. So you end up with this address book with 10% of your contacts in it, which is like no good to anyone. So you never go back because it's pointless. Yeah. But it had this amazing, everyone thought it was a good idea at the time, so they'd kind of do it and tell their friends about it.
Michael, talking about, if we can, just going back to what we were talking about earlier, which is what is the next big idea on the web? What's the next big thing? If I can ask you that again, just to press, because social networking came. We've always been, it's a human need to be social and to engage and share thoughts with friends and family and colleagues. So, is that a sort of a one-off opportunity? You think? Sort of, is there any other human need that the web hasn't met at this point? Is that a different way of trying to ask the same question you don't want to answer?
I mean, the human need to communicate has been addressed from the web from day one. I mean, social networking has just sort of defined a term around it and created certain expectations of how that should happen. But email is still the single biggest app on the web, and that's all about communication. So I'm not. I mean, it's interesting to try and think of human needs not addressed, but I think they've all been addressed in some form or another. And there's a lot of ideas that kind of iterate and reinvent around the same concept. But I mean, you look at Facebook, and everyone thought Facebook had been one, and there's nothing else to do. Like, what can you do? No one's going to beat them in social networking. And then along comes Twitter, taking quite a different angle. It's referenced as a social network, which it is of types. Yeah. And they've become maybe not as big as Facebook, but they've certainly become the next most hyped thing.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to kind of think that everything's been done,
Yeah.
and then every week you see another idea and think, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I should have thought of that one. So there's an infinite number of ideas, and I believe firmly that there's more ideas still to be done than have been done so far, and more opportunities today than there probably ever has been. And it's certainly a lot easier to execute on them, and I think the various platforms, the Facebook platform, the certainly mobile platforms, TV, which is really only now just becoming a platform, is going to be huge. So the number of opportunities to do different things is certainly out there.